What we are going to discuss today is going to help you in utilizing your capital, resources, and time more efficiently. Hi, guys, good day, and welcome to episode 4 of season 1, The Intelligence Layer. Before we begin today's discussion, it would be worth revisiting the journey we built together. We started this channel with one question: what actually runs the world? We got the answer as supply chains, and we showed that if those supply chains stopped, 72 hours is all it takes before daily life begins to fracture. So we structured this journey deliberately. We began with SCOR, the global language of supply chain management. 6 pillars, one system. Then we started with first pillar, planning, the intelligence layer of every supply chain. Episode 1 gave you the truth that forecasts are always wrong because the future is uncertain, and the real issue is not error, it is how you manage it. Episode 2, we tried to cover how to do best planning, the demand planning, demand forecasting, and demand management. Episode 3, which ideally should have been the first episode, qualitative and quantitative methods, but we kind of chose a different route. I hope you might have understood it because we wanted to start with a question, okay, which is persisting in the entire supply chain right now. That is why we chose forecast is always wrong as the first episode, because truth comes before tools and judgment before formulas. Because we are not here to create memorizers, we are here to build intuitive experts together. So today's episode is going to be about ABC-XYZ segmentation, because before choosing the model, you must first understand the product. Today we give you the framework that fixes that error for good. So we are going to start with a simple rule most planning teams reverse. They pick a model before understanding what they are applying to it. Whether it be a hero SKU, tail item, stable product, unpredictable new launch, they use same model, same parameters, and same logic. So the result is not a forecasting error, it is a systematic forecasting error. Same direction, every cycle, and compounding quietly in your inventory number every month. So first, you have to do the segmentation and then choose the model. That sequence is not a preference, it is the difference between a systematic error and a systematic improvement. So, this episode decodes the framework that tells you exactly which method belongs to which product. See, that reversal method, of you choosing the methods or models before segmentation is the most expensive planning assumption most organizations have never questioned. So, revenue comes on one axis and variability on the other. There are 9 cells and 9 completely different instructions for how to treat each product. Your AX products, top revenue, highly predictable, these deserve your best models. Tight review cycles, zero tolerance for stockouts. A stockout on an AX product costs you a disproportionate amount of revenue. AZ, still top revenue, but demand is highly variable. It comes with new launches, seasonal peaks, promotionally driven SKUs, kind of, where you cannot forecast these well. The answer to this is not a better model, it is a faster supply chain. Agility comes over accuracy. Now, CZ, low value, high variability. Ask one honest question over here: should you be forecasting this product at all? For many organizations, the right answer is to stop forecasting CZ entirely and manage it as make to order. So AX is kind of you invest in precision, AZ product invest in agility, and for CZ stop investing at all. So before the business logic, take a look at where this framework came from. 70 years ago, GE, General Electric, applied the Pareto principle to inventory for the first time. And what they identified was that a small number of items were driving the vast majority of value. That was the birth of ABC classification. Today it is built into SAP, Oracle, and every major planning system. And yet 60 to 70% of organizations still apply one model across all 9 segments, entirely defeating the purpose. The framework is in the system, the discipline is not in the process. And the future stakes have just changed. Every AI planning tool entering the market uses your segmentation as its primary input. A bad segmentation fed into AI does not get better, it gets worse faster. So ABC-XYZ is 70-year-old. The companies not using it are still making the same mistake GE solved in 1951. So the myth is a natural assumption. The planning system forecasts every SKU. Therefore, it is comprehensive and therefore it is correct. A fully loaded planning system does not equal a kind of well managed planning process. Applying the same rigor to a C tail SKU as to your top AX product is not thoroughness. It is miscalculation of your most valuable planning resource. The question to ask about every SKU is not are we forecasting it? It is should we be forecasting it, with what method and what frequency, with how much management attention? The answers are completely different for an AX product and a CZ product. See, having full coverage is not a strength, it is a misallocation disguised in diligence. So $26,500 per month carrying cost on C category inventory built up quietly across 3 years of portfolio expansion with no SKU rationalization process in place. Nobody made a decision to hold that inventory. It accumulated because every range extension added SKUs and no process was ever introduced to remove it. And because the cost was spread across 6 different budget lines: capital, storage, handling, insurance, obsolescence, administration, nobody had ever seen it as a single number. See, over here, the fix is not sophisticated. You have to make the cost visible, $1 number per month. When leadership sees that figure on a single line, the decision to act becomes obvious. Imagine $26,500 per month, and nobody has actually decided to hold that inventory. It accumulated because there was no process to remove it. So let us now apply the same concept to various industries. Let us talk with pharma. The dimension that makes pharma different is not only the molecule, it is the consequence of getting the classification wrong. Try to understand a C category product by revenue may be the only treatment available for a specific patient population. There is no substitute for it, there is no alternative supplier. If it runs out, patients do not get treated. So, over here, commercial value and clinical criticality are two completely different dimensions, and your segmentation framework must account for both. Most pharma planning systems classify by revenue contribution alone. They have no field for patient dependency, no flag for sole treatment status, no override for clinical criticality. So you have to see, if you are in pharma, does your planning process formally distinguish between a SKU, a product that is commercially low value, and clinically critical? If your C SKU management policy treats both the same way, you do not have a planning gap, you have a compliance gap. So, in fashion, the critical insight is that segmentation must be dynamic, not static. At the start of every season, every product is effectively AZ, high expected value, but completely unpredictable demand. No history exists because the product has never been sold before. By week 3, sell through data is already telling you which products are becoming AX, the winners, and which are staying AZ. The planning response to each is completely different. You chase the winners and you manage down the losers, the AZ. An organization that does not update its segmentation weekly during the season is making every replenishment decision on a classification that is already outdated. Ask yourself, if you are in fashion industry, are you updating segmentation as sell through data arrives? A static classification in week 10 is wrong before the season is halfway through. And fashion kind of brings us directly to the question this framework raises most often: what do you do with a new product? Not just a new season launch, any new product who has got no history, no demand curve, no coefficient of variation because data does not exist yet. See, most teams defaulted to C item treatment because they have no evidence to do otherwise. And that is exactly how an important new launch gets underserved from day one. Maybe in fashion or in any or every other industry. The answer for new product is ABC must be predictive, not historical. Classify by expected economic value. Use the most comparable existing SKU as your demand proxy. Use planned price point and strategic intent. Give the launch the planner attention it deserves on day one, not after 12 months of data confirm what you already knew at the launch. So, if you wait for history to classify a new product, the launch has already failed before the date arrives. Now, in FMCG, the tail is enormous: 40% of SKU count in C category, under 5% of revenue, 20% of total inventory value. See, SKUs are added continuously as innovation launch in FMCG, while old products stay active long after their commercial life is ended. And nobody calculates the cost of that tail as a single number. Now, if you are in FMCG, take your total C category inventory value and multiply by 22%. That is your annual carrying cost. If nobody in your organization has ever put that figure in one line and showed it to the management, the case for action has never been made. The number tends to be large enough to make the decision obvious. So you have to apply same concept, three industries. The failure shows up kind of differently each time. The cost is always the same. Let us now try to connect this with real world a bit. So a full XYZ ABC segmentation was then run across every SKU. This is a scenario I am putting in front of you. Value against demand variability. It had never been done before. The findings were striking. 34% of total inventory value was tied up in low priority C category SKUs, with most showing no movement for over 90 days. This is where, when warehouse audit was done, the root cause was continuous portfolio expansion. New products were regularly added, but old ones were rarely removed. When quantified, the excess stock was costing $26,500 every month and had likely been doing so for at least 2 years. Over here, the lesson is clear. Segmentation is not a one time project, it requires quarterly discipline because SKU migrate, demand changes, and portfolios drift. So, it is better to do warehouse audits and check your ABC-XYZ segmentation is properly put in place. See, the model that works for your hero SKU will systematically produce the wrong forecast for your newest launch. If you have ever segmented your portfolio, you would definitely know about this. So let us take a system view over here. The segmentation does not just tell you which forecasting method to use. It tells you how much safety stock each product needs and how much of your team's time each product deserves. Your most predictable high value products can run on lean buffers. The demand signal is reliable enough to plan tightly. Your high value unpredictable products need maximum cover because the revenue at risk is high and the forecast will not protect you. One formula across both categories is not just inaccurate, it actively misdirects your working capital. One review frequency. AX products are reviewed weekly, AZ event driven when the demand signal arrives, BX and BY monthly, CZ quarterly for rationalization, not forecasting. One review cadence for the entire portfolio is as wrong as one forecasting model for the entire portfolio. One classification decision, 5 downstream consequences. Every one of them wrong if the classification is wrong. So let's see what's happening in the real world. See, SKU multiplication is accelerating. Right now, D2C and FMCG companies are launching products faster than at any point in the past decade. So what is happening is more CZ products are accumulating without rationalization. If you launched more than 20% new SKUs in the past 12 months without a corresponding segmentation review, your CZ carrying cost has grown. So you have to check. And the companies, worldwide global companies, are doing this. Every AI planning tool entering the market uses your segmentation as its primary input. An organization with no segmentation framework is giving the machine the same problem human planners have been failing to solve. Before evaluating any AI tool, run the segmentation first so that you get maximum out of artificial intelligence which you are going to put in place for your supply chain. And elevated interest rates have increased the actual annual carrying cost of inventory by 40% to 60% compared to 2020 and 2021 levels. CZ inventory that is that was borderline justifiable 2 years ago is now clearly unjustifiable. See, the cost of not segmenting your portfolio has increased by 40 to 60% since 2021. The case has been never so strong. So this week, take your active remember, active SKU list. You need to check if a lot of SKUs are discontinued or not. So rank them by revenue contribution. Top 20% is A, next 30% is B, and bottom 50% is C. For demand variability, calculate the coefficient of variation, standard deviation divided by mean demand. Low is X, medium is Y, and high is Z. Now find the two segments that need the most urgent attention: the high value unpredictable products and the low value high variability tail. Both are almost certainly being managed incorrectly right now. So this kind of exercise will take you 2 hours, but the clarity it gives you is permanent. Next episode will come up with a new thing, moving average and the n value. So guys, subscribe, and here we are. Tell me in comments, have you ever run this analysis, and if yes, what surprised you the most? Segment first, choose second. This is SCM Decoded for you, the global supply chain community with real operations, deep theory decoded. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.